Total War Saga Troy is coming up on its 3rd anniversary, and it's aging like a fine wine, thanks in no small part to the always awesome Total War modding community. Today we are going over a massive DLC-sized mod that got updated a few days ago and just might get you to reinstall Total War Saga Troy if you don't have it installed already. Let's be honest, you don't have it installed. It's called Extended Factions by Reinstall, and I haven't had this much fun with a new Total War experience, guys, since Immortal Empires last year. This mod adds 202 new custom units to the 16 new playable factions that it also adds to the campaign. That's right, this mod contains more playable factions than what's included in the base game with all of the DLC. It also adds 32 new custom heroes, over 80 new building chains, 16 new epic mission chains along with all new dilemmas, and some other features that enhance the gameplay of Troy, like making the AI recruit better armies. I am stoked to show you all this fantastic mod, so if that sounds good to you, then a like on the video would really help me out, and let's jump in. So, what is Extended Factions and what does it do? Well, as the name suggests, the mod extends the number of factions that you can play as or encounter in Troy. The vanilla game has 14 factions divided into 2 main groups, the Achaeans and the Trojans, alongside the Trojan allies, the Amazons, the Ethiopians, and Thracians. Each faction has its own unique units, heroes, mechanics, and objectives. And all in all, the variety of factions on offer is decent if you own all of the DLC. However, there are many other minor factions in the game that are not playable and have generic rosters and mechanics. That means that not only do we miss out on playing as them, but we also have to fight their generic, bland rosters over and over again, which gets really freaking tedious. These factions represent different cultures and peoples that inhabited the Aegean region during the Bronze Age, like the Dorians, the Phrygians, the Maeonians, and so on. In my past Troy videos, I talked about Troy needing more factions that are different from the 2 major culture blocks. Well, thanks to this mod, I'm very happy to inform you that nearly all of the game's minor cultures are now represented by a unique, playable faction. Yes, you can finally play as Ajax the Lesser, known for being the swiftest of the Greeks next to Achilles. And yes, you can play as the Dorians, the descendants of Heracles, and obliterate the major Mycenaean Greek civilizations just like they did in Greek legend. It's literally their victory condition. Do the Dorian invasion. Hopefully your attempt goes better than mine did. Extended Factions aims to make these minor factions more interesting and diverse by giving them their own unique units, heroes, buildings, missions, and traits. For example, you can play as Pylos under Nestor, one of the oldest and wisest Achaean kings who commands an army of chariots and spearmen. Or you can play as Mysia under Telephos, a Phrygian king who is allied with Troy but also has ties with the Greeks. Or you can play as Athens under Menestheus, who carries the legendary Theseus' sword, and has access to elite spearmen, swordsmen, and skirmishers. Their roster is slick as hell. Much like the vanilla factions, each of these factions has its own strengths and weaknesses, as well as its own challenges and opportunities. Some of them start in isolated or secure locations like Knossos, while others start in contested or dangerous areas like the Dorians, who might as well be the Skaven or Milan from Medieval 2, with how much people really hate them. Some of them have powerful allies like Troilos, Prince of Troy, while others like the Dorians have to forge their own alliances, and good luck with that. Reinstall is hell-bent on making these factions as balanced as possible. Like, you know when you're playing a game with mods enabled and you come across one and go, oh yeah, that's definitely a mod. That is not how this mod is. This mod is polished and shiny, perfect for people who enjoy a more vanilla plus experience. One of the most impressive features of the Extended Factions mod is the epic mission chains that each faction has. These are a series of missions and dilemmas that are based on the mythology and history of each faction and its leader, very similar to the ones that the vanilla factions have. For example, when you play as the Boeotians, you'll get a mission to take out the traitorous Graia and unite Boeotia under your command. Likewise when playing as the Aetolians. When you're playing as Knossos, you'll have to contend with Memnon's invasion, giving you a pretty tense and epic early game showdown. In fact, this fight with Memnon was one of my favorite moments of playing the mod. It turned what I thought would be a cakewalk, snooze fest of a campaign in the far south of the map into an existential battle for survival. Memnon really is a Chad, and it's awesome that Rafsui 7 utilized him this way when you play as Knossos. Each epic mission is fully fleshed out with flavor text that fits seamlessly with the others in the vanilla game. And of course, the true star of the show in the Extended Factions mod is the variety and the quality of the custom units that it adds. The mod adds a whopping 202 new units to the game that are based on historical or mythological sources. These units are not only visually stunning, but also have unique stats and abilities that make them stand out from the vanilla units. So like for example, Pylos gets access to some absolute tanks called Pylian Heavy Chariots and Pylian Palace Guards who can form a wedge formation. Rhodes gets access to the legendary Rhodian Slingers that we know and love from previous Total War games, while Knossos has absolutely insane two-handed axe berserkers. One of the new Trojan-aligned factions, the Paeonians, have access to armored cavalry, which are so much fun to use. Cavalry is rare in this game, so you just love to see a faction have some solid cav in its roster. Similarly unique are the Maeonians, who are a vassal of the Hittite kingdom. They have access to an entirely unique roster of Hittite units, as well as some javelin-armed light cavalry and some Khopesh-wielding bad boys. Their aesthetic just rules. It's probably my favorite faction in the mod from a visual design perspective. In fact, the aesthetics of all the custom units are fantastic. Rafsui is famous for his jaw-dropping screenshots on Reddit and on the Total War forums, and his eye for beauty shines through loud and clear in his unit design. These are just a small sliver of the hundreds of new units that Extended Factions adds to the game. There are new chariots, slingers, archers, spearmen, swordsmen, axemen, javelinmen, and more. Every single base game unit type has been added to with this mod. Each unit has its own role and purpose on the battlefield and can make a difference in your strategy and tactics. Some units are exclusive to certain factions, while others are shared by different factions. Some units are available from the start of the game, giving you new toys to play with right from turn 1, while others require specific buildings to unlock. I cannot stress enough how much these units breathe life into this game. Even if you're not playing as one of the new factions, it's incredible to just go up against these guys with your vanilla units, or even fight alongside them in battle as your allies. It just adds so much to the replayability factor that Troy, in my opinion, definitely needs. The mod also adds 32 new custom heroes to the game that are based on historical or mythological figures. Rafsui takes heavy inspiration from the source material of the game, the Iliad, as well as the Odyssey. These heroes have their own portraits, models, skills, weapons, armors, mounts, and abilities that make them unique and powerful. For example, the aforementioned Menestheus of Athens carries Perseus' sword, while Idomeneus of Knossos carries a Minoan axe. Helenos, the Prince of Troy, the famous seer who advised Hector in Paris on how to win the war, has a unique hood that grants him ambush resistance and a whopping 20% increase to ambush success rate. Very cool to have a sneakier faction on the Trojan side. Really, the only thing that distinguishes the modded factions from the vanilla ones is the lack of unique faction mechanics, but it's a small price to pay to have that huge variety on offer. As you can tell, Extended Factions adds a lot of content and variety to Troy that makes the game more fun and immersive. It also makes the game more challenging and balanced by giving the AI factions more options to use to compete with you. The mod author made sure to tweak the AI construction priorities so it actually makes high-tier units instead of trash stacks like in vanilla. And despite all it changes, it's a pretty lightweight mod compatibility-wise as well. It's compatible with most other mods that don't change the same files or tables. I'm using it with around a dozen or so other mods, including the Intercultural War mod, which makes different cultures less friendly towards each other. It fits perfectly with the theme of this mod. The mod doesn't touch any of the vanilla factions as far as I can tell, so feel free to use your favorite mods to modify those, including other unit mods. Extended Factions is still in active development, and its most recent update was in April. He has plans to add 2 more playable factions in the near future. If you want to try this mod for yourself, it's available on the Steam Workshop and the Epic Games Store. I really want to thank Rafsui7 for creating this amazing mod and for being so active with its development and engaged with the community. He and his team of testers have created a mod the size of a couple DLCs for us all to enjoy for free. Total War modders truly stay carrying this series. Also, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit the like button if you want to see more videos just like this. You can also join the Troy Discord server where you can chat with RafSui7 and other modders if you want to help out with the mod's development. Link will be in the description box down below. That's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and that you learned something new about the Extended Factions mod for Total War Saga Troy. If you did, please leave a comment down below and let me know what you think about this mod and what faction or unit you'd like to see added. For me, it's the Sea Peoples, no contest. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.